Do you feel overwhelmed because of endless to do lists? What if you could reclaim your calm in just 5 minutes a day using simple art rituals? In this video, I'll share with you 5 simple art practices perfectly designed for busy professionals that will help you de stress, regulate your emotions, and create moments of peace in your hectic schedules. Get ready to transform your daily routine. Welcome back to my channel. This is Deepika, and I'm here to help you slow down, release stress, and reconnect with yourself using watercolor techniques. Morning, gathering your materials, creating your calm space. Good morning. Today, we are going to do something slightly different. Instead of sitting down and trying to finish an entire painting in one session, we are going to let this painting become part of our entire day. Especially if you are someone who works long hours, spends a lot of time on computer, attends meetings, manages deadlines, or simply feels like the day disappears before you get a moment for yourself. This practice is for you. We are going to create this little underwater ocean scene in small stages. You don't need to find one uninterrupted hour. You can paint a little in the morning, a little during your lunch break, a little in the afternoon, and finish it in the evening. The idea is very simple. Instead of waiting for a peaceful day to practice calm, we create small peaceful moments inside an ordinary day. So, let's begin in the morning. I'm preparing my cartridge paper first. I'm using this cute A6 size book and I'm going to tape the borders. You can use whatever watercolor paper, cartridge paper, or a sketchbook you have available. I'm also keeping my materials very simple. I only need two brushes for this painting, a number 6 round brush and a number 2 round brush. If you have a water brush, that's perfectly fine too. In fact, if you are doing this at your office or somewhere where keeping a bowl of water isn't convenient, a water brush can make this practice even easier. You don't need a huge collection of art supplies and you don't need expensive brushes. You don't even need a studio. You simply need a small amount of space, a few colors, and some time. And I want to emphasize that last one. Your time is part of your art supplies. You don't have to give yourself an hour. You could give yourself just 10 minutes. Even 5 minutes can become a small pause between two demanding parts of your day. So, I'm going to tape the edges of my paper. And while I'm doing that, take a moment to settle yourself. If you're doing this before work, don't think about the entire day yet. Just prepare this little space. Paper, brush, colors, water. That's enough. Your day hasn't started demanding things from you yet. This moment completely belongs to you. Lunch break, ocean color wash, soothing gradients. Now imagine it's your lunch break. You have finished a few meetings. You have answered some emails. Maybe you have already spent several hours looking at a screen. Instead of immediately moving to the next task, we are going to take a small creative pause. This is where our underwater world begins. I'm starting with a light yellow wash along with blue. Don't worry about creating a perfect gradient. Let the color move naturally. I'm keeping the application loose. A little more pigment here, a little less there. And allowing the water to soften the transitions. This is one of the reasons I love watercolor for relaxation. You don't have to control every little movement. You place the pigment, you give it water, and then you observe what happens. While you're painting, try something very simple. Put your phone away. Don't check your messages for these few minutes. Don't listen to another meeting in the background. Just stay with the brush. Move it slowly back and forth. Notice the sound of the brush. Notice the color spreading. Notice your breathing. You don't need to call this meditation. You don't need to call this meditation. You don't need to do anything complicated. You are simply giving your attention to one thing. And that can be surprisingly refreshing in the middle of a busy day. I'm building the blue gradually. I'm not trying to make the background perfect here. This is just an underwater environment. A little blue, a little variation, some lighter areas, some darker areas. And already it starts feeling like water. A small workday reset. If you're painting this during your lunch break, you can actually stop here. You don't have to continue. Let this layer dry. Have your lunch, take a walk, return to work, and later in the day, come back to your painting. That's the whole idea of this exercise. We're not trying to squeeze another big task into our schedule. We are breaking creativity into small pieces. Mid-afternoon, mindful corals filling the underwater landscape. Now let's imagine it's later in the afternoon. Perhaps this is the time when your energy starts dropping. You have been working for several hours. Maybe you're looking at the clock, wondering how many things are still left on your list. This is where another small creative pause can help you change gears. We are going to start adding our underwater plants and corals. I'm using number 2 brush for the shapes. I'm starting with light yellow mixed with green, making it thin and lighter. Don't worry about drawing realistic corals. We are creating an impression of an underwater environment. Some shapes can be tall, some short, some curved, some almost abstract. Let your brush move naturally. There's no need to copy my painting exactly. In fact, I would encourage you not to. Your underwater world can look completely different. Maybe yours is brighter, maybe darker, maybe full of unusual shapes. That's completely okay. We're not trying to produce identical paintings. We are practicing being present. I'm adding layers of blue now. Some areas are lighter and some darker. And I'm allowing the colors to overlap. Notice what happens when we stop trying to make everything perfect. The painting begins developing its own personality. This is something I really enjoy about watercolors. You can start with an idea, but the painting often takes you somewhere else. And that can be useful experience for us as working professionals too. And that can be a useful experience. But the painting often takes you somewhere else. And that can be a useful experience for us as working professionals. We are often trained to plan everything. Schedules, targets, deadlines, projects. But creativity gives us a small space where we don't have to know exactly what happens next. We can experiment, we can change direction, we can simply see what happens. I'm adding some larger coral forms now. I'm using stronger colors in few spaces. You don't need to fill every part of the paper. Leave some breathing space in between. That negative space is important. It gives the eye somewhere to rest. And perhaps we can remember that during our workday too, that we don't need to fill every minute. A little empty space in our schedule can be valuable. A little empty space in our mind can be much more valuable. Post work, easy ocean creatures, adding life. Now we have reached the part of the day when work is finally over. This is a wonderful time to return to our painting. Notice how different this feels from the beginning of the day. We have already created the environment. Now we are going to bring it to life. I'm adding some simple watercolor creatures. And again, these don't need to be anatomically perfect. A simple fish shape is enough. A few fins and a little movement. Maybe another tiny creature somewhere else. The goal isn't realism. The goal is play. And this is something I would really encourage you notice. During work, we are constantly solving problems. We are expected to know answers, make decisions, be efficient, and produce results. But when we are painting something like this, there doesn't have to be a correct answer. You can simply say, what if I put a little fish here? And that's enough. That tiny shift from problem solving to exploring can feel really refreshing. I'm adding a few more shapes. Some will be darker, some lighter. Some can almost disappear into the background. This creates depth. And it also keeps the painting from feeling too uniform. If you're doing this after work, don't worry if you're tired. Actually, that's one of the reasons I like this practice. You don't have to be at your most productive to create. You don't have to wait until you're inspired. You can simply sit down, pick up the brush, and begin with one small mark. Sometimes the motivation arrives after we begin. Evening, gratitude through details. And now we are at my favorite stage, the final details. This is where I slow down considerably. I am switching to my number 2 brush again. And we are going to add tiny dots, small coral textures, fine white lines, little highlights. This is very simple work, but it requires attention. This is one of those activities where I personally find my attention becoming very focused. The outside world starts feeling a little quieter. I'm not thinking about what happened at work. I'm not thinking about tomorrow's schedule. I'm just thinking about where does the next dot go. And that's enough. Try it yourself. Pick one tiny area. Don't look at the entire painting. Just look at that one little section and one dot. Pause and another dot. Pause. Notice the tiny variations. Some dots will be larger, some smaller, and that's okay. Let them be imperfect. Now I'm adding some delicate white lines. These create movement and highlights. And this is where the painting starts feeling much rich. It's interesting how much visual impact can come from such small marks. A little gratitude practice. While you're doing these details, think of one thing from today that you're grateful for. It doesn't need to be something huge. Maybe someone smiled at you. Maybe you had a good cup of coffee. Maybe you completed something difficult. Maybe you simply had 10 quiet minutes to yourself. You don't need a perfect day to find one good moment. Just one. And while you add your next few details, hold that thought. Now step back and look at your painting. Think about how we created it. We didn't need to escape our entire day. We didn't need to cancel our responsibilities. We didn't need to wait for the weekend. We simply created small pockets of creativity. Morning, we prepared. Lunch, we softened into colors. Afternoon, we explored. After work, we played. Evening, we slowed down and noticed the details. And the painting gradually became what you see now. I think that's a beautiful way to think about calm. Calm doesn't always mean sitting somewhere completely silent for an hour. Sometimes calm can exist inside an ordinary Tuesday, between two meetings, during lunch, after finishing work, or before going to bed. And this is what I want you to take from today's painting. Don't make calm another task on your to-do list. Instead, find small moments where you can bring more awareness into something you are already doing. Drinking your tea, walking to your desk, watering your plants, cooking, drawing, painting, even washing your hands. Slow down for a few seconds. Notice what you're doing. Notice your breathing. Notice your surroundings. That's a very simple form of mindfulness. And watercolor gives us a particularly beautiful way to practice it, because the medium naturally asks us to slow down. Water moves, pigments spread, layers dry, edges change. We have to observe, we have to wait, we have to respond. Look at your painting one more time. This began as a blank sheet, and we didn't complete it in one sitting. We built it throughout the day, layer by layer. Just like calm can be built, not in one dramatic moment, but through small repeated experiences. So, if you're a working professional and you have been telling yourself, I don't have time for art, maybe you don't need an entire afternoon. Maybe you need 10 minutes. Maybe you need 5 minutes. Maybe you simply need a paintbrush sitting beside your laptop to remind you that your day doesn't belong entirely to work. There's space for you too. If you enjoyed this way of painting, I would love to invite you to continue this journey with me. My mission is to help people use watercolor and creative practice to slow down, release everyday stress, and create more moments of calm in their lives. Here on this channel, we'll continue exploring simple ocean paintings, mindful watercolor exercises, and creative practices that you can actually fit into your everyday life. If you would like to paint with me again, subscribe to channel and tell me in the comments which part of your day would you most like to turn into a creative pause. Morning, lunch break, afternoon, or evening. I would love to know. And if you are a working professional watching this, maybe tomorrow, don't wait for the perfect time. Take 10 minutes. Pick up your brush and create one small peaceful moment. I'll see you in the next painting.